I do want to welcome all of you that are watching us online or that will be watching us on our website or on YouTube later on. Again, thank everyone for being here this morning. As Allison said so beautifully, we are a New Thought Center, teaching spiritual center. And what we do is just teach practical spirituality about how we live this spirituality, this way of being all week long. This is a living spirituality. We don't just talk about it on Sunday morning. We are enthralled by this way of being. But not only are we that, we are involved in this way of being. And so we walk out every day, every moment of our lives, thinking about how we live with understanding that we are connected and individualized expressions of the one, and how do we express that love in the world for ourselves and for others. And then we evolve as we become involved in this, and we use it every single day, and it becomes who we are. We evolve, and we evolve ourselves and the greater community and the planet in peace. So that's what our hope is, and thank you so much for being here. Last week, we just talked, this is the love month, February. And so last week we talked about what love sees. What love sees. And what that means is if you look through the eyes of love and you see love, in other words, if you are looking as though you are an individualized expression of the one and you are seeing another individualized expression of the one, then all is love, forgiveness, compassion, no need to judge. And this could only happen when you love yourself first. So it's all about understanding and knowing how to love yourself and then loving others as well. And so that's what that was about last week. This week, I want to talk about, and that was a great prayer too, Allison. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. God is source. And I say this all the time and pray it all the time, say it to myself all the time, God is, and don't get hung up with the word God. If that's a word that bothers you, let it go. And call that which is greater than yourself, whatever your understanding of that, whatever you want to call it. Because a rose by any other name is still a rose. It doesn't matter what you call it. But don't separate yourself from God because you don't like that word. That is only making your life more difficult than it needs to be. Anyway, every morning during my prayer time, it's recognizing and just acknowledging God is source, substance, and supply. Source, substance, and supply. So what's the value of that? Why is that important for us to know? Because as we go out in the world, we recognize there's nothing stops our prayers from being answered. Nothing and no one. And it doesn't make any difference who comes up to you and says, oh, whatever you're thinking about, that can't be done. Maybe not for you. But it can be for me because I've already discussed it with George, and we are in agreement. And so it is happening. So I just want to share with you a few stories about how it works, because to make this understanding practical, I want to share with you experiences of what it looks like on the road. To talk about it philosophically is one thing, and that's okay. But to talk about what it looks like on the road every single day, that I think is much more helpful. So I want to share with you a few stories. And the point of my first story is that consciousness and spirit is supplies. So it's an intuitive knowing. It's an intuitive knowing that you talked about in your prayer, believing and how you pray. So back when I'm a retired peace officer from California, all of you know this. And so when I first went into that field, when I first started working for the state of California, I started working as a receptionist. I was the switchboard operator. And so to let you know how long ago it was, we actually had those spaghetti boards, right? It was a long time ago, right? I'm pulling the... Apparently I was pretty bad at it because I kept hanging up on people, right? People would call and not speak to me very nicely. I'm saying, oh, okay, hang on just a minute, unplug, and move on. Terrible. So the superintendent, my boss, he really liked me, and he said, PJ, I don't think you're in the spot that you need to be in. We've got another spot for you. And so he put me in another place, and I met this woman who I loved, and she became a really good friend of mine. And I started working with the kids the juvenile delinquents, and I really loved it. And I thought, I want to become a counselor. And so I was talking to other counselors that I know, and I said, I want to become this. And so how do you become a peace officer, a counselor? And many of them said, this is not something you can do. We don't think this is really going to be good for you. I didn't ask you that. That's not the question I asked. Because I've already talked with Spirit about it. And Spirit told me that this was a job I could do. So I ignored all the advice, and I took the test and passed it, and got hired immediately as what they called a permanent intermittent, which meant a permanent part-time person, which meant that they could just call you up anytime if somebody didn't come in or whatever. So I was working more than full-time. I was working all the time. And about 3 months into it, I got a permanent position. So I became that which people said I couldn't do. So how can someone know what's yours to do? This is what we talk about all the time. What is mine to do? If it's yours to do, no one else can know that you can do it or can't do it. Only you and Spirit know that. So what does it feel like to know for sure that Spirit has spoken to you, that you know that this is something for you? This is why we talk about meditation and prayer all the time, so that you know how Spirit speaks to you. I was talking with somebody, I think it might have been you, Pat, and you were saying that Spirit speaks to you like it comes in full statements and words or pictures, because she's a creative. We're all creatives. But, if you've been in her home, she's a designer. She sees colors and patterns, and she'll walk, any place she walks into, she's already rearranging it. This will look good over here, and she sees it in her head. So that's how God speaks to her. And I talked to you about another friend who God speaks to her, comes to her in those hummingbirds. Hummingbirds. Whenever she wants to affirm something, she sees hummingbirds, whether it's a picture of a hummingbird or the word hummingbird or whatever. And so for me, it is a feeling in my heart. It's a feeling in my heart, and I know for sure, and I move forward. Was it for you? You need to know what that is, so that you have a knowing that when Spirit says this is for you, it's for you. And as I've gone on, this week I shared with you guys, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, that we are now a satellite campus for Emerson Institute of Theology. So I have a student that is going through the ministerial program, and I hope to have a new student that is going through the practitioner and then the ministerial program as well. So I have been rereading some books and been very excited about, just refreshed about some things that are going on. So I want to talk with you in a minute about what prayer looks like. Well, I guess I'll talk to you right now, because right here in my notes, it says prayer. So I'll talk to you about it right now. What book was it? It was Joel Goldstein, his book, in Prayer and Thoughts or something like that. I don't know what the name of it was, but it's Goldstein's book. And if you want to know, I'll tell you later. Just text me and I'll tell you the name of the book. But what he said was, and it rang and it resonated with me and pinged in my heart, he said that we don't need to think about how, and we know this, how things happen, because Spirit speaks through us. Spirit works through us. It makes sense. If we are individualized expressions of the one, then Spirit has to work through us. So the best prayer that we can pray is to say, speak. I'm listening. Speak. I'm listening. Because if Spirit is within us, all we have to do is listen to what Spirit has to say. And that is the best prayer we can have. So we don't have to think about we don't have to think about what it is, and particularly when we're doing treatment. Like we always, somebody who comes to you and says, pray for me, they always want to tell you what the issue is. And that's fine. They want to tell you what the issue is, but you don't need to know as a prayer practitioner what the issue is. It doesn't matter. What we do is sit together and say, speak. We're listening. And what you need to know and who you're praying for needs to know comes through. That's what it is. It seems simple, and it is simple. Try it. I'm asking you to try it. Just be still and listen. Speak, I'm listening. That's the only prayer you need. Okay? That's one. So, God wants to reveal him, her, itself to you. So when you say, I'm listening, you are receptive for God's revealing to you. That's what it looks like. Another thing I want you to know is that prayer, when you pray, there are different levels of confidence that you have in terms of whether you've been heard and whether the prayer is going to be answered. Now, the prayer is always answered. What I've told you before is that sometimes it's always immediate in spirit, but the manifestation might not necessarily be immediate. And sometimes I have a level of confidence that is confident, and sometimes I have a level of confidence that is absolute. I know. Just like that, I knew I was going to get that job. I have no doubt in my mind. And I think as you grow in experience, not growing in knowing, but grow in experience, the more experience you have with putting a demand, which is what a prayer is, a demand under the universe, speak, I'm listening, because Spirit already knows you have things that you desire. That's already within you. So as you're listening to how does that desire manifest, that's all you're listening for. And so as you have more experience with praying and seeing your prayers manifested, you'll know more about how it works, and you'll be more and more confident in it. So I shared with you a while back, maybe last year, a couple of years ago, I don't know, where I lost my computer at the train station, Union train station in Los Angeles. Yes. Oh my God, all your stuff, everything is on your computer. So I got on the train and went to where I was going, Palmdale, which is a couple of hours up, before I noticed the computer was missing. I got to my daughter's house, I got off the train, waiting for my daughter. I realized I didn't have my computer. Spirit said to me, because I was thinking all kinds of things. Oh, hopefully I can find it. Maybe somebody's got it. Because it's right around a lot of homeless. Maybe somebody picked it up. They resold it. All the stuff that goes through your mind. Just all this stuff is going on. So here's what Spirit said. What do you want? Seriously, what do you want? Do you want the computer, or do you want somebody to sell it? What do you want? I said, I want my computer back. All right, then. So that was it. I just said, I want my computer back. Okay. Right after that, my computer pinged me. I didn't even know it could do that. It pinged me and told me to my phone and gave me the location. I said, oh, it's still at the train station. How is it? Because I thought somebody took it. It's just so I called the train station. I said, hey, my computer is pinging me, telling me it's there. Have you guys seen it? And the woman said, I'll look around. I'll send the guards around, and I'll call you back. So she did. She called back. She goes, no, nobody's seen it, but we do have a lost and found. So let me give you the number of the lost and found and call over there. They may have found it. I said, all right. So I called. The person wasn't there. I left a message. And then I was fine with it. I said, okay. Because God already asked me what I wanted. I said, I want my computer back. It's on the way. I knew it. I knew it in my heart. So that next evening, the gentleman called, and he said, hey, we have your computer. When do you want to get it? I said, are you open tonight? Can I come tonight or come in the morning? So I came in the morning, I went and got it. It was there. It was there. I knew because Spirit told me. So what does it sound like or feel like to you? One of the first things that has to happen is you want to be clear. What do you want? There's all kinds of stuff going on in your head, right? And it's going on in your head, but you are an individualized expression of God. So it's not just going on in your head. You and God are having a conversation. Do you understand that all the stuff that's going on in your head, Spirit knows that that's going on in your head. So get clear when you finish all the ramblings and the human stuff, all the fear that goes on, make a declarative statement. Here's what I want. That's it. Here's what I want. State it, then confidently expect to get it, and put no time frames on it. No physical time frames on it. So let me tell you about a long prayer in terms of physical time frames. This is something that just came about. In 2018, I was at my sister's house, and we decided, me, my nephew, my sister, my brother-in-law, all of us, we decided We wanted to get on Family Feud. So we made a video. And we just had a lot of fun. We played the game. We had a video. My nephew is so funny. So he played the Steve Harvey part. And it was so great. And so we videotaped it, sent it off to Family Feud. They sent us back a thing and they said, okay, we got it. You're on the list. Okay, thank you. That year came and went. Didn't hear a thing. They texted us, they emailed us and said, hey, you're still on the list? Do you still want to come? We said, yeah, we do. We're still on the list. We still want to come. All right. Next year, COVID hit. And they said, all right, you're still on the list. Do you want us to keep you on the list? Yes, keep us on the list. All right. Following year. This year, you're on the list, and we're inviting you to come. And we're sending you the plane tickets. So we're going to be on Family Feud. Thank you. In March. We're going to be on Family Feud. That was a long time, but we just kept assuming it was going to happen. And every time they called and said, yep, we're going. And all the family, everybody that was invited, so we told them how many people were invited. They give you 5, and they choose which 5. So they told us which 5 they wanted to come, and we told everybody. Everybody said, oh, we'll make a way. Don't you worry about that. So everybody is able and available to come. 5 years. In this time. For God's time, spiritual time, it happened the moment we sent it out. Right? You just have to keep the faith. Don't worry about our time. As I said, in spiritual time, it has happened. The moment you ask for it to happen, it has happened. Oh, nice. So just one final thing, which was just out of the blue. So again, there are things that we know we desire and we want. And then because we have asked for things, like one of the things that I've asked for is just for Spirit to expand my openness and receptiveness to receiving. I love giving and I love helping people, but I'm just constantly I can't, it's hard to, and so I've asked Spirit to open that up for me, okay? So my sister-in-law, no, I'm sorry, not my sister-in-law, my stepsister, my sister, Sandra, and I, she came to spend the night with me, and we went to the Dixie House for breakfast a couple months ago. And so we were leaving, and someone had tithed to me, by the way, had sent a $100 bill to me. Very nice. It was a gift. It was a tithe gift. And so I just had the $100 bill in my wallet. Someone told me a long time ago, if you put a $100 bill in your wallet, you just feel rich. Like, you've got so I just had it in my wallet. Just had it. And so we were checking out, and there was this whole, the Super Bowl squares? Is that what you call them? Super Bowl squares? Some kind of betting thing. See, I don't even know how it works. But it was there. And these 3 ladies were chit-chatting. I said, what is that? And they said, it's a Super Bowl square, and it's a $100 thing. $100? I think that's what this is for. And I looked at the squares, and there were like 3 or 4 still open, and the number 18 just pinged my heart. And so I put my name there, gave my $100, and left. The day before the Super Bowl, I went and got the squares and saw what my numbers were. I don't know. I don't care. I don't know what that meant. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl. I had no idea. The following day, 2 days later, I just went back to the Dixie House and I said, hey, how did it go? How does this work? So the lady was just running it down, and she goes forward and backwards. What does that mean? Back and forth. So none of the numbers that I had on my squares were was the winning things. She said, additionally, we picked a number out of a hat, and we put some money aside for that, and it was the number 18. Right, 18. $500. It just, you were saying in your prayer this morning, listen for intuition. Sometimes just things come, and what we do is, what's this about? What does this mean? Jason talks a lot about, my ex-husband, he talks a lot about hearing something as he's going out the door, take an umbrella. It's not raining. And of course, he'll be in the middle of rain with no umbrella because he's arguing. That's what we do. That's what we do, right? Take a pair of shorts. Why? Why? That's what we say. Intuition comes and we say, why? What's this about? Don't do that. Just, it's intuition, follow it. This is, again, building your experience of God. How God works for you. Prayer works. Intuition works. We have all that we need within. What we need to do is decide to believe. Just try it. What does it hurt for you to try it? What does it hurt if you hear the voice saying, take an umbrella? You just pick up an umbrella and take it. What does it hurt? And then you'll see. You'll begin to see. And you'll begin to have this building, this knowledge base for yourself personally. Because George, when I call him George, speaks differently to all of us. I don't know what it's going to sound like for you. What I can tell you is that you have it. What I can tell you is that we are individualized expression, that God is impersonal. It's a law that is impersonal, which means it reigns on the just and the unjust alike. God answers prayer, doesn't say, well, I like her today. I like what she has on, but I can't stand that purple thing. I'm not answering any prayers for you today. Doesn't work that way, right? Everybody, all the time, has prayers answered. Okay? Has prayers answered. So what we want to do is simply understand what a prayer is. Speak, I'm listening. To get information that you want. If you have a particular demand or desire, I want to be more open to whatever it is, and just expect that. Let go of time, temporal time, and understand things happen in spiritual time. How many things have to be moved around to manifest it in your life, you have no idea. But it is coming. Trust and know that. Trust and know that. I want to leave you with a couple of quotes. Mother Teresa tells us that prayer enlarges the heart until it is capable of containing God's gift of himself. God is the gift for all of us. We have to make our hearts large enough to contain that, to open up to that which is God. And Mahatma Gandhi tells us it is better in prayer to have a heart without words than words without heart. So open your heart, speak, I'm listening. And so it is. Namaste.